Welcome to Elks 101. Another episode of Elks Central, breaking this one down.
Reagan, touchdown Edmonton! Fajardo, Dunbar, back on top go the Elks!
Okay, welcome in Elks Central, June 7th, and the Edmonton Elks have a winning record for the first time. I got some fun stats here for this one. For the first time since September 7th, 2019, 2,464 days. It's also their first season opening win since 2019, and after this win, they have matched their win total, which is 1, through the first 7 weeks of the past 3 years combined when they went 1-20. So Eddie, you came in here yelling. It's safe to say things are looking up for the Edmonton Elks. We're going to break this game down, of course. Before we get to that, some quick intros. How are we? How are we feeling? Just initial off the top thoughts about this one.
Well, how are we? How
am
are
I?
you?
I'm
back in the big seat bucket list life experience. How are you, Mr. Europa?
Man, it was crazy. It was because I'm like really, really scared of flying, right? Like I basically turned down a free trip to Japan with my girlfriend. Like 15 of my best friends went for one of like my best friends' 30th in Nashville. I didn't go. Granted, my dad's birthday was that weekend, so I probably wasn't going to go anyway. But like I'm terrified of flying. So to actually,
John Madden in you.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like I'm telling you, it was bad. It was the first takeoff when we took off from Calgary was bad. I popped like 2 out of ends. It wasn't great, but being there, and maybe I'll talk about it a little bit more tomorrow, and we'll give this a chance to just break down the game. But it's really cool. A couple quick things about Italy. It's like the areas we went, we did it as tourists. Like it is very, very touristy, and if you're gonna go, highly recommend. But be prepared to be walking. Like you're walking everywhere. You're getting your 25K, 30K steps in. You're going everywhere.
Why is that? Why there's no transportation lack?
No, like they do. It's just I think it's just more feasible to go. Like if you want to take a cab from your hotel to like the first tourist destination or something like let's say you want to go to the Coliseum, you can do it. But it's like from there, if you're going to go to like the Trevi Fountain, you're going to walk. Like you're not going to take a cab. You're probably not going to get a cab at that area. It doesn't make a lot. It's probably going to end up being longer to wait for a cab than it is to just walk there. If you're going to go from there to the Pantheon, same thing.
So quick perspective then. We're at Rogers Place. What's it like walking to? Is that from Rogers to Commonwealth? Like how far a walk?
No, everything's about like 25 minutes apart. And it's like it's a super populated city, like 3 million people, kind of with a pretty good downtown core, it seems. So like people are always around.
Dense.
Really
dense.
And the driving culture there is insane. Like it's like nothing I've ever seen. Like the way these cars, like people just cross the street.
Yeah,
the cars.
There's no rules.
Dude, it's like a video you would see on Facebook where you see like the perfect like cars woven with the, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's exactly like that.
Playing
it's
Krueger
great.
everywhere.
Yeah. And no one, like you think people don't signal here. My good, no one signals there. People are just going like slamming on brakes all the time. Yeah, it's really crazy. Like I give the drivers there a lot of credit because it is a legitimate skill set to drive the way they drive.
You're not seeing accidents left and right.
No, like nothing. It's crazy. And people are just
crazy,
dude. Like people are going, like just walking in the street without looking. The cars like will drive around them. The Vespas are just like zipping. Because here's what I clocked about everyone. Because we like when we would cross the street, we'd get a little bit nervous, right? Because we're not used to it. So you kind of pause and you're like, whoa. But the cars and Vespas that are driving, they'll like time what they're doing around you. Because they like everyone there seems to have it down to a routine and a science. So it's like when you like kind of take your pause in the middle of the street, like that actually messes them and messes the traffic up way more than anything. Like they basically will time it around how you're walking. And like they'll make their movements based on that, which is kind of cool. But yeah, overall, just an insane trip. Like I said, maybe we'll talk about it more tomorrow. For sure. It was really cool.
It's, I guess, one of the differences too with all these petties who just go out walking. Here, you're going 50, 60 clicks and they just step out in front of you, man. There, it's a different type of pace. It's jammed up. Here, we're ripping down a common way and they'll just step out like they are expected to get the free walk.
Yeah.
No. Different story.
And there, it's like they very much get it. But yeah, it's crazy. It's a really cool place. Like so much history. Like I said, we went to some pretty touristy spots, so it was very touristy. But it was cool. It was awesome.
You talk about all this history. The Elks just made history, fellas.
Yes, they did.
The Elks this is the best record the Edmonton Elks have ever had.
They are batting 1,000. Babe Ruth could never.
The Edmonton Elks have never been so good.
We talk a lot. We talk about Shohei Ohtani a lot. Shohei never batted 1,000 like the Edmonton Elks are right now. As far as the actual game went, just some real quick thoughts off the top for me. I didn't think Ottawa looked like a very good team at all.
No.
They started to, and granted, it's week 1, it's bad weather. We'll talk about the penalties later on. Things like that factor in. Ottawa started to get a little bit more competent. They started to kind of put some things together later in the game. Like Edmonton was up 29-13 with 4 minutes to go, and that's when Ottawa started playing their most competent football. From what I remember, because now I'm thinking about it, I wasn't actually paying attention to the coverage that closely. I was kind of watching like Ottawa's offense a little bit more than I was watching the Elks defense. I don't think they were going to like a prevent or anything, which you don't.
No, they weren't.
Yeah, which you don't really.
They were still rushing for, from what I remember. I actually had to PVR the whole game and watch it at like 9 o'clock. We were at some family friends for dinner. And come that late fourth quarter, I was kind of groggy and tired.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, really tired. So I was just kind of getting through it to make sure they won the game. And I haven't rewatched it, but up until that, I was pretty good with it.
It's a little weird because I remember like even in the last 4 minutes there, I kind of did one of those like head shakes. Like how did Ottawa like, because I don't know, it was like a couple quick, like I know Rankin got stuffed on one run, but it was maybe like, was there some missed passes? It just like all of a sudden it's like you blink and Ottawa has the ball back.
That's the thing about CFL too.
Yeah.
It's always a game, right? Those 2 and outs go so quick. But there was about 3 possessions in the game that were just really soft defensively for the Elks. Finishing the half where you just let the offense go down the field, and then finishing the game.
Kind of got lucky with a field goal.
Exactly, they did. So it's both those closing points where the Elks were kind of soft and gave up too much yardage, too much big plays in those moments.
Yeah, like
other than that, sorry.
No.
Other than that, though, I thought defensively, boy, they were sharp.
Yeah, the first quarter, first drive, really, especially first couple drives for that defense.
Carney,
like the tackling was
first, second down. Malik Carney, you feeling me?
Yeah. And the tackling was just so sure. Like how, and I tweeted it to this point. At this point, granted, it had been 1 quarter at that point, but to that point last season, the tackling was so sloppy, and that continued for about 5 weeks. The tackling to start this game was so sure. Like Nick Anderson, Cordell Jackson, Joel DeBlanc, like
everybody. Yes. I'm so glad that you went with the tackling. I was talking to people all morning this morning at church, and that was one of the best things I saw out of the entire team was the tackling, and not just the individual tackling, fellas. It was A, the hustle. You saw guys hustling to the football, and B, the vice tackling. And what I mean by that is we're splitting this camera deck, me and you, and you got that angle. I got this angle. We can't let him outside of us. We both force him inside, and we both help each other out. And you saw that constantly out of the defensive unit yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to kind of wrap up, maybe some 3 quick thoughts, and I'll toss it to you guys for the same thing. Like the first one, Justin Rankin, probably better than advertised, and I've basically been sitting here all offseason campaigning for him to be MOP, and he looked even better than that. Now he did get blown up on one pretty badly in the fourth quarter. Ottawa's defense was playing hungry. It's, he made a lot of something out of nothing. The offense, I really loved seeing them. Like they would run the 6 hitch routes. They would run a lot of 5 and ins. Like they would, for the most part, throw it pretty short and pretty what we've talked about, just kind of keeping the offense moving. Now, granted, it might not have always worked out, but someone tweeted at me, he's like, I need to see more from Cody. Everything is a 4 to a 7 yard pass. And I was like, my brother, it's a little bit what he is. And then, like I said, they let Ottawa back in the game a little bit late, but there was I guess the only thing I would say is I maybe did have just an inkling of, is Edmonton going to blow this? Because we saw it a few times last year, like 3 times at least in games they probably shouldn't have. But there was no point in the game where I was really worried about the Ottawa Red Blacks. Like if they had this lead against BC, I'd be like, ooh, okay, pump the brakes. If they had this lead against Montreal, I'd be like, okay, pump the brakes. But I don't want to say the result never felt in doubt, because some of the last season was still lingering there in the back of my mind. But Edmonton through and through felt like the better team. So I'll leave it at that for my quick 3.
Thoughts, Rick?
Yeah, no, I agree with her. And it's probably more than just last year. It's probably the last couple of years, 5, 6, 7, 8
For
years
sure,
that sits in the back of your mind. No, I agree with you. I thought the end of the second half, end of the second quarter, end of the fourth quarter, they didn't. They started to play a little scared. They allowed Ottawa back in it. They didn't have to. I thought the play calling in the last 3 minutes of the second half wasn't great either. They got the ball and there's a quick handoff, and the ball's turned over. 7 seconds off the clock. You're giving the other team the opportunity to come back again. I wanted to see them go for the win, go for first downs, stop, just do the whole handoff. And this isn't the NFL. You can't just run the clock down. And I thought that because they did that, it allowed Ottawa an opportunity to come back and then make the game closer than it should have been.
Mm-hmm. My thoughts were initially, if you fellas remember one of the early second down passes, it was a completion to Canadian fullback 44.
Yeah, Skylar Griffith.
Thank you very much. And It was a good completion, but he got popped and it looked like it could have been a fumble.
Yep.
Right? First possession. And I thought, is this
Could have been an incomplete pass.
Yeah, it could have been
right?
either, but had it been a fumble, I'm thinking, they had some mojo. Rank, his first few touches, he was just churning up yards. Yep. They were moving the ball, and then boom, they got a nice completion, going to go for first down potentially, and he potentially fumbles it. Didn't fumble it, but I thought, oh man, is the real Double E going to show up again? Yeah. Like, we're turning it over on our first possession after we've been moving it. It's like, this is typical. That's what we're used to. But then throughout the game, you could see that Edmonton there was a talent discrepancy.
Yes.
They were a better roster. Yep. They did let Ottawa in it. There were moments where they let Ottawa in it with some soft drives defensively and penalties. There was some costly penalties.
Oh my goodness. We'll get to that.
We will get to that. There is not just the penalty yardage, but the timing.
Yeah.
There was a couple of very poorly timed penalties. You got to clean that stuff up, because if you clean up two that specifically stick out to me, you could step on their throat that much more, because they're possessions. So penalties were everything. But overall, man, you got to be pleased with what you see.
Yep.
Got to be pleased with what you see out of this team. Defensively, I'm really happy. I am. And we'll get to the offense in a bit, but there was some cool bright spot moments from Coach Maximic in terms of some creativity.
Yeah, some of the stuff he schemed up. One thing that was crazy, this is kind of an aside, it doesn't really mean anything, but there were a couple times after the play where Jared Brinkman, like after the play happens on defense, and you're looking back to the sidelines, getting back to the huddle, and he looked like the same size as some of his linebackers. And I'm like, I don't know. But he's a heck of a player. So that's what I'm saying. So it doesn't even matter. It's just an observation that means nothing. Offensively, yeah, and one other thing about Justin Rankin I wanted to touch on, because he had the huge plays where he blew things up. That one, it wasn't a screen. I think it was the check down. Then he obviously had the 61-yard touchdown run. Like, just
2 60-yard plays.
Yeah, like make something out of nothing, and that's awesome. And that's what you expect from him. But he also has the make something out of nothing plays that go for 5 yards, and that value can't be overstated. Like, he had a good few of those runs in the first quarter, first half for sure. And this is kind of what we talked about. It's like 2 60-yard plays, 2 60-yard bombs, one of them resulting in a touchdown. Like, that's huge. That's awesome. Probably not something you want to hang your hat on every game. Now, Justin Rankin has the ability to make it happen, but statistically, probably not going to happen every game, and it's just not something you can hang your offense on. But when you have a guy who can turn a 1-yard loss into a 5-6 yard gain and set up those second and shorts, that's where the real value is. Like, everyone talks about those big, huge plays that he busts open that are game-breaking plays, and those are awesome, and those do win games, and those make the Sports Center top 10, but those can be few and far between.
Yeah, it's those.
Yeah, it's those runs that, like I said, should be a 1-yard loss that you turn into 5-6, and all of a sudden you have 2nd and 5, 2nd and 4, and you can let Cody throw across. Exactly.
See the time of possession.
Yes.
Too.
Oh my goodness.
That's what it's about.
Let me hear. I'll give it to you guys here, because I just.
So, yeah, and Dec, you're nailing that with Rank. So, 2 things in terms of this game. One thing in terms of this game, I should say. You're right. He was getting positive plays essentially every time he touched the ball. He is so hard to get
so hard to
on
tackle
the ground with the first guy. Like, it's impossible.
And he's way stronger than he gets credit for, because he's a little bit shorter.
Big legs. He's quick though.
And he's shorter, and he's not thought of as the stockiest back.
No.
Like, he's not thought of as a Dedrick Mills or like an AJ Ouellette or something like that. But he is really, like, he's strong and he's sturdy, and you talked about his legs, and he's really tough to tackle. Yeah.
Twitchy as can be. So yeah, that's awesome in terms of what he can do. Now the challenge is this next game.
Yep.
Consistency. Yep.
Yeah, there we go. And it's, not to call him out, but there is MLP expectations. As of week 1 out the gate, he is the CFL MLP. It's a week-to-week award essentially, and you stack those weeks, and at the end of the year, you have the most MLP weeks, you should win it.
Yep.
Right now, he's out the gate. He's by far the MLP. Now, what has he been known for in the past? You have a great hot game and then kind of a dud.
Yep.
Come out and have a huge game at home. Oh, boy.
So let's talk about this, because let's make the transition from Justin Rankin to the offensive line. What did you think of them? This new iteration of the offensive line early. I think Ottawa only got the 1 sack, right? It was who was it? It was the new guy they had.
Yeah.
Bryce Carter. Yeah, he was the only sack I think they had.
They each had 1.
Yep. Yeah, Edmonton had 1. It was Noah Curtis. So, hey, by the way, shout out Noah Curtis. You're a quarter of the way to the team's sack leader from last year. So that's dope. But yeah, there was only the 1 sack. They had 5 tackles for losses. Edmonton had 4, so a little skewed towards Ottawa. to my mind, and again, this was a game like I probably should have done a better really keying in on the offensive line because we've talked about them so much, but it is just one of those things that happens like when the game gets going, especially the first week of the season when you have some new receivers and when you have a running back like Justin Rankin, your eye follows the ball a little bit too much. Like you're looking at these and when it's not following the ball, you're looking at these receivers. You're like, hey, TJ Luther and Josh Cephas just won roster spots. I want to see how they're getting out of their breaks and how they're running their routes. I want to see what Austin Mack is doing. So I probably should have been watching the offensive line a little bit more intently. I probably should have been rewinding some plays and watching them. Yeah. So you know what? Let's let you take it over from there.
Overall, I thought they played really well, fellas, right?
Yeah.
You could see them establish themselves. We always talk about just moving bodies. That's the base concept of football. You know, you can come up with all the terms, but you got to take the man across from you and reestablish the line of scrimmage. They did that more consistently, limited the pressure, 1 sack. You're happy with that. Cody wasn't under duress. He was able to have time.
He had a couple.
I was just going to say, and he used his mobility. That was coming up next because no, Cody's not a burner as fast as he was even 5-6 years ago, but he still has that mobility to escape pressure when needed. Overall, though, you could see if you did key in on them, they had that nastiness to them. They were getting after guys on some pulling guard action. You could see the guards really blast DBs. Who was calling again? Marshall Ferguson.
Yep. He
highlighted on a couple of times when it was Wood Mancy. He pulled around and just flattened a DB, pancaked him, absolutely pancaked him. It's going to be the best film ever.
Was he the one who got downfield?
Yeah.
Because he obviously throws the guy 4 or 5 yards.
So, but what else I saw was there was another pulling guard action, and he destroyed the guy. I forget which guard it was, and Buddy was on the ground, and then the guard just forearm shivered him right again when he was down, like just another shot. And that stuff wears on you, man. Those types of shots, it may seem insignificant, but for an O-lineman to have that's like an aggressive mentality and aggressive nature. So that's good to see. Obviously, the stats speak for themselves in terms of rushing and averages and all that. One thing, though, that was really special to see, and they talked about this, if you really keyed in early in the game, Carter O'Donnell got a little banged up.
Yeah.
And then Wood Mancy got a little banged up later in the game. Mark Horty stepped up, didn't miss a beat. And here we are in game 1, and we're talking about the battle that he had and the resilience that he showed in training camp, threatening getting cut because of salary. And him and David Beardo are battling it out. Coach and GM said it publicly in the media center is going to be one of the biggest battles. And you need that depth, and that depth stepped up and showed in week 1. Mm-hmm. And they have the best 6th offensive lineman in the league because he's so versatile. He can do it all. And I didn't even realize this. They talked about it on the broadcast.
Buddy, man, I was going to bring that up.
Shout out to Corty. 100% of the snaps the past 3 years in the CFL.
And they brought it up like,
shout out to him.
They brought it up a little too much, though. I was like, yeah, guys, we get it. We heard the stat the first 8 times you said
I didn't listen to it.
Dude, they brought it up so much.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I heard it once.
Which is awesome. Like, shout out Mark Corte. That's incredible. And I sat here and I told former offensive linemen, coaches, all-decade members that he was the best off. So shout out Mark Corte, that's my guy. But dude, they could not stop bringing up. And they also mentioned that Edmonton had the highest rate of 6 offensive linemen on the field last year, 41% of their offensive snaps. That seems way too high. Like, I'll take their word for it. Obviously, I'm sure they have the numbers. That seems way too high. Like 2 out of every 5, they had 6 offensive linemen out there. I don't know about that. Now, granted, maybe we forget a little bit because a lot of that early in the season was with Philip Grahovac, who they ended up cutting because things weren't really working out with him, working as their up back. But yeah, like Mark, like the way they were talking about it, it was almost like the Elks made a mistake not starting Corte.
No, they're in the right position. Going back though, they did do too much extra O lineman packages last year, and that was some residual effect of the year before with Jarius Jackson when it was still Chris Jones. That was like the only way they could run the ball, and they did it with a lot of success. And because of the roster, it's like this new regime came in, coaching staff, but they still attempted doing the same things that the old staff did because that was the only way they could run the ball. Now it's all their seeds are planted. This coaching staff firmly has their fingertips on this group, man.
I thought it was a really well-called game. You look at some of the averages when we're talking about the offensive line, 122 rush yards on 22 rush attempts. That's an average of 5.5 a carry. So, you know, conceivably, we're not math guys, but you can run the ball every single play and you're getting first downs. You're moving the chains.
Second and short.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Cody had 34 completions? 23 completions
34 attempts.
Yeah, for 266 yards, about 8 yards a carry. So again, it's just you add that up. It's only what is that? 12 plus 1.3, 13.3, just over that first down every time. But that's all you need.
You add that up, it's drives. That's what it is.
Yes.
35 minutes of possession.
It's the possession 35 to 25. Like that's a crazy swing, or feels like a crazy swing. But you talk about the offensive line opening everything up. Like you just look at how much easier it made for a guy like Cody. And not a lot was like, there was the one huge play to TJ Luther and the very next play to Austin Mack. We'll talk about those a little bit, but everything seemed to just be like, how many times did he look for Brendan O'Leary Orange on that crossing route? Like how many times did he look for Kaon on a hitch route? It was just these things that keep the drive moving. And to be fair, it didn't, the extended drives, like you don't want Vincent Blanchard to have to go 5 for 5 on field goals. You want him to maybe have to go, 1 for 1 because you get 4 touchdowns out of it. That's a problem for another week. The sustained drives were there. The points ended up getting on the board. And you look at Vincent Blanchard, they won the game by 8 points. He had 15, so he did his job. But that just would be one thing you look at moving forward. It's like these sustained drives where you're wearing this defense out is awesome. You're getting 35 minutes of possession. You have one run play, one pass play on first and second down, and you have another first down. But when it does get into the red zone numbers weren't great. You got to finish with some touchdowns there.
Yeah, it's real. I mean, Vincent, 5 of 5.
5 of 5. Yeah,
Sank for Sank.
He 100%. A lot about this Elks team is 100 right now. Winning percentage, Vincent Blanchard.
Gotta like how they did everything they needed to, man.
Yeah. The one thing that we've touched on a little bit, and we'll break it down a little bit more now. The penalties. That's where I was going to go. So this was the most week 1 game of all time. I don't know if you guys have the numbers in front of you. Do you guys want to guess the combined penalties and yardage between the two clubs?
Oh, well north of 2, because Double E had 15, and I think Ottawa had 12 or 13?
Yeah, so combined they had 24 penalties for 252 yards. Edmonton was 14 for 142. Ottawa was 10 for 110. Now it was week
14
1.
for 142.
Yeah. Now it was week 1 in the rain, but we simply can't have that, Eddie. That's a little too high.
Bad. No, that's bad. And when I'm not saying the team is bad, players are bad. You got to be more disciplined. Your discipline is bad. Your focus is bad. The first penalty, Noah Taylor, unnecessary roughness on the long snapper.
Yep.
You just give Ottawa a first down.
Dumb.
You've been in the league long enough.
Yeah.
You've been in the league long enough. You can't do that. That's silly. Like there's no other reason to do it. You're just trying to get an impact in the game.
So can you not touch him at all? Like
no, you can touch him, but like once his head's up and he's looking and in the blocking, body position. But while he's down and there's a delay, they keep their head down longer.
Oh yeah,
on purpose.
To avoid getting hit.
It is also kind of a double negative because then they can't get involved in the play until they lift their head up. But like still,
yeah, but it's a long snapper. They're not expected to get involved.
They're taking the shortest. They're taking away the shortest route to the kick to the block too, right? By standing.
But on the punt, like they'll get downfield.
Yeah, but they're not. Some are hungry, but for the most part,
Yeah. Dude, I remember
that's not your job. Your job is to snap the ball.
Dude, I remember in our provincial quarterfinal, my grade 12 year, our quarterback had to end up being our long snapper. So you can imagine he wasn't exactly flying down there. Yeah,
it's like 2 punches out there.
Yeah. I thought this was kind of an interesting stat. I don't know what you guys would make of this, but just while we're on the subject of penalties, Edmonton had 5 first downs via penalties. They also had 5 first downs passing the ball. Now they did have 9 first downs via rushing the ball, but it's probably not a great sign if you have a 1-to-1 ratio of passing versus penalty first downs.
No, definitely not.
So just something to keep an eye on. Like we're happy. We're in a good mood. You have a winning record for the first time since September 7th, 2019. This is awesome. But there are some things to keep their eye on.
By no means did they play a perfectly clean game.
No.
Like there is plenty to improve on the offensive side of the football.
Yep.
Plenty to improve on the defensive side of the football. I think special teams, probably if we're talking about most consistent unit, they were great because Lee, he averaged 15.9 on his punt returns.
And
that's over first down and a half, man.
Yeah.
That's huge yardage.
And it was on 7 returns too.
And then
that's big. And then just to add on to that, granted it was only 2 kick returns, but 21.5 there. Now you're gonna get more on it's the kick and punt are
you're
much
right.
different.
It's good
but
return
still,
averages. And then combined with Blanchard going 5 of 5, like the special teams did really, and their coverage units were really nice. Nobody really popped off on them. Pimpleton had a couple of big ones, but he's really quick returner. So I think special teams did well. In terms of offense and defense, though, you gotta like what you see. There's a lot of room for improvement, but overall, you got to be happy with where they're at, man.
Yep.
Knowing there's room for improvement too, because there's levels to it, and they can take it to another level.
Yeah. So let's talk about room for improvement a little bit, because I think when I think about room for improvement, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this as well. But it's something that we've talked about, and we've also kind of put a pause on because people have said, open up the playbook, move it downfield. And we're like, hey, hold on. I'm not sure that's conducive to this team's skill set all the time. But when you do want to talk about something that can be improved on, it would be that. There was really only the one downfield shot, and it was the one to TJ Luther. I think it was like 35, 40 yards. And man, like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
Do it.
Let's see it.
Dude, he put everything into that ball and still hung it short.
How much?
I wish we had the clip, because it was like he loaded it.
It's still 3 yards short.
Dude, it's like, do you remember when you were playing jackpot at recess and the kid who didn't really have the best arm was the thrower, and he would put everything and just hang it short?
To run back to it.
And dude, I'm not trying to do that thing where I'm just Mr. Negative and I'm trying to like,
it's not his game. It's not his game.
But TJ had a step. I forget who the DB
did.
was. And he had to come back to that ball. And dude, and this is the other thing. And I don't want to just keep hammering Cody, because I really like Cody, and Cody's been nothing but nice to me every time I've talked to him. We had him on this show and he was a great guest. And I really, really do love Cody. But he put like everything into that ball, and he hung it like 3 yards short on like a 40-yard pass, 35-yard pass.
Man, he's here to just have drives. Put the ball in the playmaker's hands, get first downs, and if they can pop some, they can pop. It's not going to be an aerial attack offense.
Shout out TJ Luther for making the adjustment to come back to the ball.
Yeah, that's a hell of a catch.
Cody had a couple overthrows in the game too. He missed that touchdown. There was an open touchdown early in the game. Who was it? He missed. Keon Julian. Yeah.
It was a bad miss.
He had him. It was open.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was a bad miss.
He had him completely open. It was as open as you could be.
Dude, thinking back to it right now, because I actually that's funny bringing it up. I haven't thought about that play much since it happened. I don't know if there was a defender like in the.
He was in his hip pocket.
Was he? Okay,
yeah,
okay.
But there was no. He was running like across, kind of post like across the back of the end zone. And Cody had him all day, and he just put it from here to where you are, just way in front of him. There was a couple quick outs where you throw it and that ball's not on a rope. It has to, it like loops up there. You know what? It's like a bloop. Yep. It doesn't get there quick, man. Like that thing's hanging to get snagged for a pick six.
Even the touchdown to Austin Mack, like
I liked it. He put it in a good place.
I thought Austin had to make a pretty crazy adjustment.
Hell of a catch, but that's what you pay these guys for. You put it high. That where he put it for Austin Mack to have to make that catch, it's not a troublesome ball. So that's why I like it.
Yep.
If worst case, it's getting overthrown.
Yep.
That's it. So that's good. You'd rather that than throw any troublesome ball in the end zone.
You are lucky because like Austin's one of the guys who can make the adjustment in air.
That's why you got these guys. You got to trust them. Like Lawler, you got to trust these dogs. Go and get that bone.
Apparently, my boy Ben Victor wasn't doing it.
Our guy.
Yeah.
Apparently, R.I.P.
I miss you, Ben.
R.I.P.
But those are, I guess, some of the things if you want to point to and say, hey, there's this. The other one I kind of noticed, and I want to get your guys' take on this as well. Obviously, didn't think Terrell Ford had the best game. He had the pass interference against Geno in the end zone where he didn't try and locate the ball at all. Didn't turn to find the ball. He got beat by Geno on, I think it was probably, what was it? Yeah, I think it was a seam. Mm-hmm. And then he had the drop pick, which was like
how he dropped
put me in, coach, because I
like he had it, and I don't know how
it's like
dropped it when he fell.
It was weird because if he had just caught it, he could have turned upfield, but I think he tried
it's slippery too. It's rainy.
Yeah, it is.
Why'd he jump?
Yeah, man.
Why'd you jump?
He could have, because it's like he
didn't have to jump.
Pick it while he was taking his body to the ground to down himself when he could have just caught it. That's what I saw.
That was a punt return.
You weren't here for the first preseason game either, though.
No.
And
I listened to your guys' show though. You said because I like to keep up with my Elks. Yeah. You said, I think you used the word little lazier, maybe nonchalant.
Very lackadaisical.
This is all going back to exactly what you said about him in camp.
It wasn't good. He got beat in the first preseason game, or the one at Clark, by at least 7 yards, and then didn't even look around. And then Buddy caught it. There was no extra burst to try and get him. Buddy just galloped to the end zone. It was not good.
Yeah.
It was not a good play. And he seemed like he didn't care. And okay, give him the preseason pass. But I'm with you, man. He didn't look sharp. He didn't.
Yeah, I'm glad you feel the same way. And I'm just trying to.
He was engaged physically. Like,
yeah, he had 3 tackles, and he had
stuff,
one that was a really good
pass
tackle.
Coverage where he's like, sometimes he's too cool looking out there.
Yeah, and like Geno Lewis, he's a good receiver.
Yeah,
he's a good receiver.
Sure,
he's a top tier receiver. But
sure.
and like if you look at Geno's numbers, Geno had like 9 targets. I think he only had 3 catches, but it didn't like I didn't feel like Geno was getting blanketed that game. You know?
No. And we're not harping on him, but it's kind of like a body of work now that's developing, right? So
and
hopefully he shuts us up.
Yeah, for sure. And like, if he fully has the ability to do that, he's the highest paid DB in the league. I think he's the best field corner in the CFL still, or not still. Like I think he's the best field corner in the CFL for sure. I think his tackling. I also think like when you're younger, like when you play, if you're a Canadian playing football, they don't really do field corner and boundary corner. Like we didn't even do it in high school, really. Like it's not, I'm sure some high schools do it, but it's definitely not something you learn in like Adam or Pee Wee or Bantam. Mm-hmm. It's generally probably something you don't start doing until CIS, I would say. But if you are someone who plays that field corner, like I would say, just watch how he attacks balls and how he tackles and how he takes legs out from under defenders. Like he does everything. He does everything right in that sense for sure. So like if you're a young player in that position, go and watch how he does that. But the other side of the coin is also, it's like we now have a few kind of things we've seen over the past, month now here?
Yeah.
Where it's, I don't want to use the word concerning at all, but you're just like, okay, I'm noticing that.
Yeah. And honestly, it's not really anything in his game. Like,
no.
If we're nitpicking, it's more just the body language, kind of too cool for school. That approach is the only way I can explain it. Like just the nonchalant approach. And it's usually in passing situations.
Yeah, and I've always thought of Terrell as a good cover corner, but I've never thought of him as Darrelle Revis.
I'm different.
Okay.
Yeah.
You do think
from some of the tape I've seen
in
Winnipeg, and he's locked down, man.
Okay.
He's locked down. I think what I'm hoping is you see a couple of really ugly reps on film, and the pride, steps up, and this all just goes by the wayside. That's what I'm hoping for.
I hope he's not listening to this being like, man, I went on their show twice and they're dogging me like this. Man, that's not it.
We're talking, he's the best at, I think he's a sick tackler, a high football IQ.
I think he's the best field corner in the league.
He is. There's no denying any of that.
When you're that good, you have high standards for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And just the nonchalantness, I expect every play to, just look like you're going after it hard every play. And sometimes, at least from what I've heard during training camp, what I saw during the preseason, and what I saw in week 1, it's not that. And there's no perfect player at all, but I've seen what he is. I've seen him play in Winnipeg. I've seen the body of work on the other side of the fence. So that there's high standards. There are high standards.
Yeah. I mean, I think we said it well. Like I don't want to turn, when you win the game and when the defense plays, I think pretty well for most of the game, and when you had some really solid tackles, I don't want to turn this into
pick too. It's a completely different narrative. Like one little dropped rainy ball away from having a sick game with the pick in week 1. So at the end of the day, we're nitpicking. We're nitpicking, but that's what we're here to do, man.
Yeah, it's absolutely right. Because I don't think, like, the reason I brought up Terrell is because I don't really point to anyone else on the roster and say, like, they left a lot on the table outside of, like, a Cody, which is, I just think sometimes offensively, it's like you're going to have that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, and that's going to happen with, like, any quarterback, really, outside in the CFL.
Yeah, you clean up a couple of those drives that they stalled themselves on, and you got to be pleased with the way they move the ball, even without rank hitting home runs. Got to be pleased with consistent drives.
Yep.
The TOP, that's everything. And they could have had a better TOP than what it was. They really could have. They could have had about 40 minutes of possession compared to Ottawa. Yeah,
they really could have. Didn't turn the ball over at all. That's great. Huge. You win the.
What's Cody's percentage? 23 of 34. What's that equate to?
23 of 34.
67. I'm no mathematician. In the 70s.
Gonna have to
No,
type
that's
it
for
in.
sure in the 70s.
67.65.
No way. I just threw that one off the cusp.
Math guy.
Big
After all.
math
Big
guy.
math guy
Edit
after all.
everything after I said
Yeah.
67.
And it's just like,
Cut it.
man, if you can have a stat line every game where Justin Rankin averages 8 yards a carry and has 100 rushing yards, and Cody has 200, and if Cody goes 67% passing for 266 and a touchdown, and again, like something where we also might be burying the lead on a little bit is like the fact the weather
Thank
and the fact that
Bro,
it's week
great
one.
minds
Like,
think alike,
yeah,
my
hey,
dog, 'cause
shout
I was
out.
just about to chime in.
Yeah,
Like
like
pretty darn good considering the weather.
yeah, like we haven't really talked about how, dude, there was a point early in the first quarter where the camera was just completely covered by rain. And I was like, am I even going to be able
It
to
was
watch this
terrible.
game?
It was
Yeah,
terrible.
yeah.
Someone's
yeah.
got to wipe that off.
So it's like we're sitting here, and I honestly, I want to check myself a little bit because I feel like we've sat here and been hard on the team who won
No, we give
and
it
was
love, baby.
yeah, and
We're
was
giving
they
love.
were
We're
way
giving
better
love.
than that Ottawa
We're giving
team.
love. But we can't. It wasn't like we're giving love, Dec, but
Yeah.
at the same time, no, we're not just blindly just saying this is the best win ever. It wasn't, man.
Mhm.
We're being truthful.
Yeah,
They could have beat them by more.
and like let
They
me
had 14 penalties for 150 yards. Like there's a lot of errors here, but that's football.
that is football.
And this is a good place to improve on and from.
Yeah.
At least you're not starting from the bottom. You know, this is a great place to improve on.
You guys keep talking about Cody's numbers there, and we kind of forget the fact that he had a 37-yard pass for a loss to end the game, right? So you got to add those.
No, but
At least give him back 37 yards.
I thought that counted towards.
Well, I'm looking right now, and it still says a pass for a loss is 37
Oh,
yards.
it does.
yeah.
Okay. I thought they counted that as a rush play, and that would have been a 37-yard.
I'll be honest, I fell asleep. What happened, fellas?
Oh, it was just the last play of the game.
There's
to
3
kick off
seconds to
third
go.
down,
So
yeah.
he just turns around, throws it backwards to run the clock
Once
out.
I saw they had the win, I definitely was asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, hilarious. So like Austin Mack, if that actually does work against him, because his final stat line was 3 catches for 26
Yeah, he
yards.
only had 26.
But I thought that was I mean, you know what? To your credit though, Rick, I'm looking at the rushing numbers right now, and they don't have that as listed as a 37.
Yeah, I mean,
guess
it was a legit pass, man.
Okay, yeah. So there
Okay.
you go. That's a good day too, Cody. That's what Cody does in that weather. You got to be happy with just shy of 70%.
Shout out.
clip.
So that's over
That's
300
pretty good.
yards.
Shout out Rick for bringing that up
That's
because
all
Cody
thanks
would,
for that 6,000.
Cody would be listening to this right now, being like, these idiots don't
Yeah, yeah.
know football. I had a 40-yard
I
loss in
fell
there.
asleep. I did.
You know what? It's crazy because fair play to you for that. And then for me, like I completely, because obviously when the game's happening, I'm not counting up yards per play, and I just assumed the way they drew up that play, it was a backwards lateral that went like, because if you watch the play, he turns around and he guns it, like he completely
Dec.
turns his body and he guns it to Austin Mack. It'd be the same as if you threw like a pitch or something backwards.
That's what you need the big football guy for, buddy.
Yeah,
And you need that knowledge. Had I have watched the play,
you would have thought it was a lateral too. I bet, or not a lateral. You would have thought it was like a pitch play.
I don't know.
But yeah, fair play,
I don't
'cause-
even know.
But here's the other thing I would say. Even watching back, I didn't feel like Cody had a 300-yard game.
No, but it was.
But
an
if he
efficient,
did-
man, it was an efficient game.
Yeah.
It was even early in the game. I talked about that one, potential, drop or whatever it would have been by Griffin, but you could tell just such a difference from last year with the confidence at quarterback and just knowing that he's gonna at least at the bare minimum go to the right read.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like you can see that, and having that with the athletes around him, it gives you a real good reason to be optimistic
Yeah.
for this offense. It does. Okay, we haven't talked about this. We did a little bit, but Coach Maximic, the first time they got in the red zone, fellas, first time they got down in the red zone, 2 backs, Leak and
Yeah.
Rank, and they went to it multiple times. It didn't work,
Yeah.
but the fact is they're going to it. And look, it's not because of us, but I love the awareness
Yep.
that coach knows that you can catch defenses and it's a trap, man. It's a slippery trap. And I
And
love that they went to it first time in the red zone.
Yeah.
Man.
on the one option look they had with Cody and Rank, was that out of the
Yeah,
double back?
It was out of
So
the double back,
wa-
man.
Was it a triple
It
option?
was a triple.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah,
So
it
they
was a triple.
they went to leak or
Yeah,
read
let
the
me-
read
where
to
is
leak
it at
first.
Here, it's somewhere in my notes, but yeah, it
Cody
was the
should have
option.
pitched that too, by the way, but that's whatever. That's
First
neither here
time
nor there.
down in the zone. I loved it, man. Yeah, it was a double option.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a double option.
I was happy he made it through the whole game after he took that one pop.
Dude, I thought he was for sure concussed off that
Oh
hit
yeah,
by
that was
Revis.
a big high
Dude,
hit.
and CJ Revis, great free agent addition, by the way. But him like getting up and protesting that,
No, that
What
was
are
very
you-
clear as day. clear as day.
Because here's the, even if you didn't think it was a late hit on the quarterback, which you could make
wasn't.
the case
It
it
was
wasn't.
head-to-head.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
think it was.
well,
I wasn't
clear as
calling
day.
late hit.
Yeah,
There
It was
is.
clear as day.
so like that's my thing. Like if CJ's protesting, it's like, you know what? Okay, if you want to get up and protest in your mind that this isn't a late hit, sure. How on earth can you not protest that this is a hit to the
Yeah,
head?
yeah, it
Like,
was-
what are you doing, man?
It was head to head.
How about that peanut punch by Joel DeBlanco too?
Oh,
What a
dude.
nice defensive
It
play
is
to create a
the
turnover.
number one underrated aspect of any defensive player's game in football is looking for the ball and trying to punch that ball out when a receiver gains possession, makes their move upfield, and tries to start running with the ball. Everyone always goes for the tackle, which I understand, but looking for the ball in that situation is so underrated. And it feels like more often than not, it's there. Joel obviously keyed on it. I think Malik was the one with the recovery, but that is just like another thing with Joel. Like we talk a lot about how he like sees red and he's a dog and he just loves to tackle, but that's evidence of what his football IQ is.
Mhm.
And that, you know what else that is?
Mhm.
That's evidence of improvement, because we talked a lot about it last year when he got in the lineup and he was taking bad angles towards plays because you're just so hungry, you want to make that tackle. But once you can kind of not only correct that and correct how you approach the play, but then to take it to the next step and have the awareness that I'm going to legitimately look for this ball. Because I think it was Pimpleton? Was it Hardy? I don't know who it was.
I think it was. I wasn't Pimpleton. I don't think. No.
Yeah, whoever it was, like he had that ball out like a loaf of bread, and Joel DeBlanco found
Just
it.
on the drive-by, he just punched it out. Joel is primed for a big season this year. You can tell. Both linebackers, though. You see Nick Anderson flying around.
He had a special teams tackle
Yeah,
in the
he
first
did.
quarter, and I
He
was like,
did.
"What's he doing on teams?"
Yeah, both those boys, they're primed to be dogs out there all over the field. One thing that really I noticed as well, just culturally for this team, they were so fired up. That defense was fired up. They're passionate. You could hear it despite the bad weather. You could hear it through the TV
Oh,
feed.
yeah.
The guy would make a play and whoa, you could just hear the sideline getting geeked up. And that's one thing that,
especially in
you know,
that first quarter there.
yeah, absolutely. But even throughout the game, just off plays, right? Off tackle, because they were getting off the field, man. They would get themselves in a second and long, and the defense would do what they needed to do. Actually, I'll say this too, because it just popped in my mind. I saw quite a few times JC kicking it back to the old school days where they were rushing 3, dropping 9, like we talk about, and making it tough on a quarterback. And they would have Noah Taylor out there in coverage.
Yep.
I liked it, man. I liked it. And they're 3.
Dude, they
were
dropped
getting the
Malik.
job
They
done.
dropped Malik in coverage as well.
Yeah, they
A little
dropped
bit,
Malik out there. I think D-line played well. They didn't have like a tremendous game, but you could feel him. We talk about just being able to feel him. You
Dude,
could feel him.
I think it was the first play of the game. It might have been the first drive, but Malik had that pressure.
Second play, first passing
Yeah,
attempt.
and I was like,
It was the first
I was
pass
like-
of the season.
I was like, this guy's getting 15 sacks.
First pass
this
of the season,
Yeah.
and the quarterback getting pressured and hit at the end by Malik Carney.
Let me ask you this, because this is a question me and Rick can't answer. How much in the first game of the season, the first regular season game of the season, how much of an adrenaline dump do you get like after the first quarter, after the first drive?
Significant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that first drive, because it's more the first drive.
Okay.
You're so hyped up. The willies are really going. You got to get those first bangs out. It's even different than preseason because you feel the same way in preseason as well. But now it's different. The crowd is much more rich. I mean, except for in Ottawa. But usually, it's just everything is more enhanced. You know what I'm saying? It's even played faster. It's like that level from preseason to regular season is a step up. Regular to postseason is another step up. So yeah, that first drive, man, it's something. And for a lot of guys, it's just like, oh, it's that thought again that I can do this. Like it's a confidence builder, even for an old vet, because you go a long time without banging someone, and it's so competitive. You're always nervous for your job. You're never secure in ball. We talked about that plenty. So to get that first couple of plays out the way and like, oh yeah, I still got it.
Yeah,
it's a real big thing, man.
Let me ask you one other kind of football nerd question as well. How much as a receiver do you probably, like the answer I would assume is going to be very little, but how often do you deviate from your route on the play? And the reason I ask this is because on Austin Mack's touchdown, he did run a sluggo, which Paul Lapolice was happy to tell us about, but the DB had inside shade. So it's like he honestly should have just ran like an out and up instead of running the sluggo, because he just and that was, I think, part of the reason he had to kind of contort his body at the end. Like, how much as a receiver in that situation, if you're Austin Mack, do you say like, because there's inside shade facing me right now, I'm not even going to run this sluggo, I'm just going to run an out and up, or I'm just going to run like a stop and go?
Yeah.
How much do you kind of change that up in the moment,
That's a really good
especially if you
question.
know you're the targets.
Yeah, that's a really good question, Dec. It's not going to be something where you just completely go to schoolyard ball, but that's where we always talk about the chemistry between quarterbacks and receivers, because even little things as eye contact, quick like that, can mean something, like I'm going somewhere else, right? So all these little nuances. So no, not on every play are you going to change up your route combo, because oftentimes you're running a route with a partner or a slot. So like you're working with each other. But in moments like that, you hear it all the time. You got to get your reps in with your guys, because if he's playing me inside here, I'm going to go there. Quarterback's going to say, if I see him doing this, if I see his hips drop this way, I'm throwing it outside no matter what. And you got to be on the same page and practice these types of little things. So that comes into play a lot, especially more down in the red zone. Yeah. And then scramble rules, of course. Once the quarterback is scrambling, you always have that timer in your mind. There's about a 3-second play clock. If you're running your route after a few seconds and you look up and all hell's breaking loose back there, you go into your scramble rules. High receivers come back, low receivers go deep, and you just find space. And again, that's where that chemistry comes in. And at that point, Cody's trying to find a guy. But it happens more often than not. Going back to your question, solely, in these more critical moments, and it's all because of that chemistry and the reps between the quarterback and a receiver.
Okay.
So he chose to break it outside after?
No, he ran the route. On that one.
He ran the route.
He stuck with it.
But I just think of, so many times I hear quarterbacks even just working after practice, and you see them working with their receivers and just talking about little things, talking about what they see. You have to be on the same page so much so with that position group, right? Because it's such a trust and a feel thing. And we see so much blind throws where a receiver hasn't even broke somewhere, but all of a sudden he turns and the ball's right where it should be, right? And you have to have that timing. And again, the communication and the trust is everything. Yeah. And I believe that it happens quite often. Now, again, I'm no receiver. I just hear the lingo and the verbiage when I see these guys working after practice, throwing a million reps. Yeah. And there's a reason they're throwing a million reps. Because it's got to become like that, and it's got to be something that you don't think about. And that's how you play fast.
So I'm watching that play, and I'm thinking that this is not a touchdown next year. He's in the back of it. It's going to shrink. It's going to shrink.
The depth. Yeah.
I was like, dude, for a second, I was like, why is he getting worse next year? What do you mean?
I'm like, what?
I wasn't picking it up.
Shrinking. With it shrinking, he might have got his toes in there. Yeah. But with it shrinking, that's not really a play you can run next year.
It's going to be such a tight game. The CFL is going to be very condensed. It's not going to be what we're used to, man.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting, man.
I don't know. Maybe it'll be good. How about that TV deal? Hey, you were away for that. That's really good for
with the zone. Yeah,
that's really good.
That's
DAZN,
huge.
Come get me.
Because it went from like 50 million a team to 80 million or something.
Yeah. So how it equates?
Yeah, DAZN, go get Eddie, and hey, maybe me and Rick too.
Hey, how it equates is I'll bring you boys. For sure. We're a team.
Yeah.
All for one.
One for all.
One for all. Three Musketeers.
For sure though. We're ride or die from day one, man.
By the way, if they say Eddie, if they say Eddie, we just want you. No hard feelings from me and Rick. You can go, man. You can go.
Essentially, how it equates, the cap will go up $1 million. Yeah. So
it's going to go up maybe even more because they keep talking about bringing in another team too, right?
So they're pushing. The cap will go up into the 7s, potentially touching 8.
Yeah.
So that's really good. It's at 625 right now.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, up $1 million, $1.5 million.
And the other thing, I don't know how much you guys talked about that either, with like the expansion or possible expansion. They're looking into Quebec City. We can talk about that more tomorrow. That's an Elks 101 subject.
Yeah, it is definitely a little tidbit to it though. We had Brian Desjardins in the Studio Sports 1440 on Friday.
Unreal statistician.
Yeah, deep knowledge there, history of the game, and just talking the dimensions with the expansion potential, the opportunity. The field dimensions, I should say. U.S. destination potentially.
Really?
Well, it just opens the door for it.
I hate it.
It just opens the door for it. It only makes sense. And you have all these investors with big bucks. Man, to invest in a CFL team is, some of these it's
pennies.
Laughing money. It's laughing. Larry Thompson with the money, the fortune that he had. He did this totally as a charitable.
Yeah,
he's losing. Yeah. He did this because it's a passion project. Yep. So there's some players out there that with big money that could invest All I'm saying is the field fits the dimensions now. It's easier to add 5 yards to the back of an end zone as opposed to throw a whole CFL field into some of these American stadiums down south.
Yeah, no, it's true. You make a really good point. Is there anything else that I didn't touch on that you guys want to add about the game here? Because we will get to the offensive, defensive players of the game. We'll get to our hot seat of the week. Or is that?
That's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow. We'll get to our offensive and defensive players of the game. But is there anything else you guys want to add?
No, man. I think it was a successful week 1. I don't exactly know what they're going to be doing this week, but it'll be a lot happier now that they're walking off a win instead of a loss. And I think it should help ticket sales for game 1 2 Saturdays from now.
Yep.
And I'm not going to be able to be in the building.
Really? Hey?
Yeah, I'm in Bonnyville. I'm putting on a lineman football camp.
Oh, that's dope.
Bonnyville. It's cool. Dope. Yeah, on the Saturday and Sunday. Like, it's going to be awesome. But yeah, it's the 2:00 Saturday. I won't be able to be in the building. It's going to be lit, I bet. I'm hoping.
No, I think it'll be a great environment for sure. Good time. Hopefully some good weather.
Push 30K.
Yeah.
Push 30K.
Just got to pray for weather.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that'll hamper it.
Saturday at 2. Should be Sunday.
And it is funny. Like I wonder how many fans factor in, like, obviously rivalry games are huge, Calgary, Saskatchewan. But I wonder how many fans factor in, like, Montreal's a good team. They got a really good quarterback, Davis Alexander. Like, we want to go watch that because it's box office. I'm sure it doesn't factor in nearly as much as we just want to go support the Elks. But I hope a Montreal game, with all respect to like Toronto or Ottawa, I hope that one's better attended because of the talent on, like, you Tyrese Beverett, Davis Alexander, like I talked about. Like, I hope it's better.
Jason Moss coming back.
I hope it's better. Yeah.
There's a lot of storylines actually, and hopefully it goes beyond just the avid CFL fans' knowledge, because look, Davis Alexander, 12-0 is a regular season starter. Like, are the Double E going to break that?
Yep.
Like, there's a lot of storylines of hype going into this game. Well, I guess Montreal might play this week, so I guess it could break this week unless they're on a bye this week.
No, they play. Hold up.
I guess they
play Toronto.
But if he wins, comes in at 13-0. But Jason Moss coming home. There's a lot of different reasons to talk. Noel Thorpe coming back.
Yep.
And again, they're going to do the right thing. Come out here and get that first dub at home. I do believe so.
Yeah, I think it's just the prospects for the season that's really going to drive people out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the article I wrote that was riddled with spelling errors, apparently. My bad, everyone. Thanks for correcting on that. No, I'm glad you did, man, because I wouldn't have found it.
I didn't do it in the group chat. I did it privately, at least.
It's so bushy. Like, I hate that I had them. I sent an updated version. But in that article, go read it, ElksNation.ca, fix now. I predicted them to go 4-1 in their first 5 games. And I said I thought one of the losses would come either at the hands of BC or Montreal. I think they'd go 1-1 in those 2 games. The BC game's on the road, I believe. But I think, like, it is one of those things. I think if they lose this game to Montreal, I think even though I think Winnipeg is in between, I still think they would win that BC game. And then vice versa. I think if they win this game, win the Winnipeg game, I think that BC game on the road could maybe finally be a bit of a letdown spot. Not even a letdown spot because BC is just a good team. But I think they'll go 4-1 in their first 5. And I think this Montreal game is going to factor in heavily to it.
I like it.
Yeah.
Prediction.
Do you guys want to do offensive, defensive player of the game here? It's such low. Okay, let me actually throw it to you guys this way.
Low hanging fruit.
No, because we're gonna say offensive player of the game outside of Justin Rankin.
Okay,
because that's, I mean, that's a little too obvious there. So where are you guys going?
I'll go Cody Fajardo. The next lowest piece of fruit. No, those guys stepped up and they did what they're supposed to. I'll give a shout out to the O-line unit too, just due to the fact that Mark had to step up, play some reps, shuffle the board a little bit. David Beard kicked over to guard. So for them to have to be exposed to that and, survive and thrive under that pressure already early in the season, shout out to those big hoggies, man.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go. I was going to give it to the offensive line as a group. They didn't do it, the 5 of them. They needed some help, right? There was a little bit of injury in there. They showed they had depth, but they gave Cody the opportunity, the time back there to do what he had to do. So I'm looking at outside of rank. The offensive line, I think, was for me.
Yeah, I think for me, obviously, Rankin goes without saying. He had 196 total yards on 18 touches.
That spin move, though, on that that was crazy.
He's sick. He's lethal. And apologies to anyone watching on YouTube. We should have the highlights.
Yeah, we should get that for the next show.
Again, this one might seem like guy who didn't watch the game and just checks the box scores, but I do think like TJ Luther having 5 catches for 65 yards on 6 targets. He had the biggest catch of the game, that 39-yard yard bomb where he had to kind of come back to the ball and make the adjustment.
Big jump ball.
He only had 10 yak yards, but he was averaging 13 yards a catch. I know it's obviously a lot of that comes from that 39-yarder. But the biggest thing for me with this is like, this is a guy who we weren't talking about at all. He had to go out there and win a spot. Like he jumped over the practice roster and he just won a spot on the roster. Then he comes out here, him and Josh Cephas both. They're day one starters in week one of the regular season. And he goes out there and outside of Justin Rankin, who had 94 yards receiving, 92 yak yards, by the way, he was kind of the man. And the ball was distributed relatively evenly between Rankin, Luther, Keon, and Austin. But he was the guy who emerged for the most yards. And obviously you can make the argument Austin Mack had the biggest play with the touchdown and the adjustment he had to make there, but the biggest downfield play to set up the field position for that touchdown. So just everything kind of surrounding the narrative with TJ Luther and what he was able to do in this game, I'm going to give him my non-Justin Rankin offensive player of the game.
Yeah.
And by the way, how funny would it be if that becomes a segment throughout the season? We're just the non-Justin Rankin. Yeah.
It's good content.
But let's throw it to defense. Who do you guys have as your defensive player of the game?
I like the way the defense have played as a whole. So I'll give it to the one guy that created that forced fumble. We'll go with DeBlanco.
It's a good pick.
That is a good pick.
See, I like this. That means them as a group were good.
I'm gonna go Cordell.
Yeah,
I
he's
like
my
Cordell.
pick
He
too.
showed up, and he had that one fumble that just fell to him. Heads up play to obviously secure the ball, but he was around the ball, solid tackling. Yeah,
Dude,
for sure. Cordell.
Just speaking of that fumble really quickly, I know this isn't Red Blacks Nation, but like Max Duggan, he was a Heisman finalist and was in the Natty at TCU. Like you're obviously playing at TCU, playing Big 12 football, playing against Georgia in the Natty, Heisman finalist. And now, like, just like the high of that to going to being like, I think this is his second team this season already.
Oh, really?
I think he started with
I
Toronto
think
to
you're
start
right.
the
He did.
season.
Yeah, he did.
And to be, having, I think that was his only snap, and to fumble it on like a 3rd and short and Randy Wet. Like, it's just, I feel for Max Duggan because that's like a tough kind of fall from grace. Now,
That's a ball,
granted,
man.
he was that TCU off, like it was made him look better than he was. But to get it back to Cordell, 4 tackles, which was second on the team behind Nick, who had 7, 2 tackles for losses, and then that heads up fumble recovery. Because another thing about that fumble recovery is I think sometimes when, I don't know if he was playing the Sam or if he was playing D half there, but like either way, the box was loaded. He was collapsing on the edge. I think sometimes when you're doing that on those sets, you have a tendency to not read the play first. You just go. And so sometimes when you're in his position and that ball is fumbled, you can have already made your move to collapse and just try and get in and make the play. But he, heads up play, stuck with it, and was able to get on that fumble. I think he thought he had a touchdown.
I was going to say the exact same thing. What do you think went through his mind? Because he sees that ball there and there is nobody in front of him.
Max made the tackle, but I think
And then he just you should do in that position. This one will catch everybody off guard.
Kick it and go run it down.
And go and get it because you can do that in the CFL.
Yeah.
Odell Willis did that one time. Kicked it like 30 yards
I remember
downfield,
that.
and then the defense just went and chased it.
Yeah.
That's real
taken to the
next
IQ.
level.
Yeah. That's real 200 IQ.
Just a little dribble.
That's CFL IQ.
Yeah, it is. That's high CFL.
Yeah.
But the 2 tackles for loss is huge. He was such I know he only had the 4 defensive tackles, and I know there was maybe 1 ball in coverage that he didn't play as well as he needed to, but he's such a sure tackler. Like he takes away the legs so well and aggressively.
Consistent, man.
Yeah, KJ, team's DPOY nominee from last year. He is my week 1 defensive player of the game.
Then I'll give another special. You can't just stick with O&D because the specials was the best unit, man. In both those guys, in terms of the key special teamers, Blanchard 5 of 5, the young fella. That's a good way to start the season. And then Leak 7 for 1 whatever, averaging 15.9.
Yeah,
a coach they're so happy when you get close to a 10-yard average.
Yep.
When you're averaging 15.9, that's over a first down. That's huge for possession, flipping the field. All those whack penalty yards they took, man, Leak almost made up for almost all of that with his return yardage.
He did.
That's really special game he had.
Jake Julian, 8 for 371, 46.4 yard average.
Couple of nice placements.
Yeah, and he had that one that was short, that one wobbler that went short. His longest was 65.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. Shout out the specialist. Absolutely. Is there anything else we want to add? Anything we missed?
I don't think so.
No, I think we did well. I think it was a Yeah, good little recap. So I guess with that said, we'll wrap things up. Back for Elks 101 tomorrow. We might only get Eddie for 75, 80% of the show. He's got a 10:33 tea time. We generally wrap up at like 10:45-ish. So we'll see. We'll
Just had
see.
to throw that out there.
Yeah.
I'm letting everybody
This
know.
guy.
I'm letting everybody know. Back with Elks 101 tomorrow. I don't know if you guys want to do an Elks Central Friday or just wait and just skip it, do a post-game show when week 3 rolls around. We'll figure that out later. But back tomorrow morning, Elks 101. We'll talk about headlines. We'll go around the league, our hot seats of the week, look at some CFL betting lines, all that good stuff. Steele's reels, hopefully video permitting. But this has been great. Shout out the Elks. First win of the season. You have a winning record. Let's build on it.
We back.